A man records his pet cat studying its reflection in a mirror for the very first time. The animal is fascinated, and over again, it tests the reflection by cautiously putting one paw in front of the other, almost as if it doesn't completely trust what it is seeing. Now satisfied that this mirror image is no threat, the cat settles down and looks behind for one moment, but as it turns out, its initial instincts were right all along. If you didn't catch it, the cat's reflection does not match the cat's own movements. So what do you think? Was this special effects or a once-in-a-lifetime moment caught on video? I'm convinced that house is haunted, since it looks too realistic to be done by amateur video editing. Even though this snake wasn't on a plane, Samuel L. Jackson would probably not appreciate its presence on this train platform. Tweeted by Triple G RTO, he writes, "Being a train operator for NYCT subway, I thought I have seen it all, but this can't be real. Oh, it's real alright. This feet-long snake, which has been identified as a non-venomous black eastern rat snake, was spotted on a subway platform in New York City on August 10th, 2020. The species can grow up to 7 feet and is native to the East Coast region, from Connecticut down to South Carolina and west to Kansas. It feeds on rodents, which may be why it's lurking in a New York subway station. As the enormous snake weaves slowly across the platform, a commuter stands not far off, waiting for her train's arrival. The MTA addressed the situation in a tweet, writing, "This is a new one for us. They were investigating the matter and aren't aware how it got there, although the reptile doesn't appear to have an owner, so may have just been out for a midday stroll or slither. Still, I'm sure many New Yorkers wouldn't want to share the L train with this scaly passenger." Caden Parker meets up with some friends at a local skate park and finds someone much older trying to pick arguments with everyone he sees.
Big man! Who's Big man? You, right? I'm going for a sleeper.
Dude, come on. Can you just leave us alone? We're just trying to have a good time, enjoying the nice weather.
Who cares? I'm going for a sleeper.
Soon he turns his attention towards Caden and tells him he's going to put him in a submission hold if he comes down from the ramp. By now the skate park has mostly cleared out, so it's just a face-off between Caden and this angry stranger.
Dude, the police are on the way. I hope you know that.
I hope so.
We have a problem.
I didn't stop.
Individual at the
Skate park.
skate park, and he's kind of sneaky quite a little bit.
All right then. Might as well make it worth it.
Yo, tell him to send an officer ASAP.
An officer shows up right before things get any more out of hand. I really don't think this is a fake video, because the officer walks up and puts him in cuffs straight away. Apparently, he has a long history of doing this and nobody seems to be acting. After he's taken away, the park fills back up with people who are scared away. Caden Parker shows a lot of bravery standing up for them, as well as self-restraint by not stepping forward when challenged. Had this escalated, he could be in as much trouble as the person who is actually in the wrong. He did everything right in my opinion, and is allowed to enjoy the rest of his day peacefully as a result. A YouTube channel called Adventure with Hodge goes on an urban exploration of an abandoned factory, and it turns out to be one of the scariest places he has ever explored. Something feels wrong with the creepy location from the very start, and they begin to wonder if this place is really abandoned after all.
Eerie, not gonna lie.
The basement feels downright spooky with only one flashlight between them. The urban explorers are too scared to venture far, especially when they discover a creepy message spelling out their fate.
You're in his home. Wonderful. I don't like that at all.
We just decided to go back in the basement. We just heard something.
That was loud.
On the basement floor is another haunting discovery in the form of an abandoned jacket. Why would someone leave their jacket down here? Hodge wonders. I personally couldn't help but notice it's kid-sized, and this is certainly no place for a child. Someone scary must have taken them to this horrible location. Someone twisted and deranged. The two friends are beyond creeped out, but at the same time curious enough to go exploring past the creepy warning on the wall. Bad decision.
It's time to go. Time to go. Okay, we're gone. We're gone. We're gone. I'm sorry.
Somewhere in the darkness, a heavy object falls over, and the loud, scary noise they capture on tape makes them cry out in surprise and run away while apologizing. This part deserves a closer analysis because it's scary stuff indeed. They are exploring the middle of the basement, nothing within arm's reach, when an unseen object either crashes or is thrown to the ground. Hodge is holding the camera and you can see his friend's elbow right before the scary noise is caught on video, so he's standing too close. Whatever caused this unexplained event can't be them. Plus, listen to how he later describes this creepy encounter caught on tape.
Majority of the video, we were exploring the basement of this abandoned factory. We kept hearing noises, felt like something was following us, and lo and behold, something followed us and we were chased out the basement.
I see no signs that he's lying, no deceit in his eyes, only enthusiasm at the thought of having a scary and maybe even paranormal encounter caught on tape, so I believe this creepy video is as real as he says. When the passed on are literally beneath your feet, you're bound to step in something. Published to YouTube by Exploring with Eric in May of 2020, Eric visits a graveyard at 3 in the morning in his new series, The Devil's Hour. My objective is to document all sorts of evidence that relates to the paranormal world, whether it be poltergeist activity, any shape or form of apparitions, etc., by using my basic ghost hunting equipment. In this series, you will see myself investigate alone. During the first episode, he gets more than he bargained for. While in the cemetery, Eric finds a mausoleum. After hearing a loud knock during a spirit box session, the glass door closes. He then says he heard someone's voice and he hopes there's no one here messing with him. Just as he decides no one's there, after wandering around the premises, he hears footsteps.
I'm gonna go ahead and show you exactly where I want to show you.
He runs up the stairs to the second floor to see who is there, but there's no one. He notices that the doors are open to the outside. As he shows his viewers a fountain in the middle of the mausoleum, he hears footsteps again. He returns to the inner mausoleum, where the doors are again closed. Finally, he decides to leave and it's standing outside, saying he'll return again at some point, but as he pans around, a large shadow figure moves behind a nearby tree.
It's too much for me right now to handle, and like...
What was that? Is that what's been watching him? It's probably time to say goodbye. When there's something angry in your home, it will make its presence known. Published to YouTube by Lainey and Ben in June of 2021, this short, scary clip shows their haunted house in action yet again. Lainey is making breakfast and walks over to set the dishes on the table, but the moment she turns her back to the cupboard, it swings wide open and a bottle of ketchup is expelled from it. Lainey catches a glimpse of the paranormal activity, and although she still appears a bit shocked, it's clear she's seen this sort of stuff before. She simply calls out for Ben and then calmly leaves the kitchen. Is the spirit just reminding Lainey not to forget the ketchup, or is this a forewarning? Because a red liquid condiment seems a bit too on the nose. Tell us your theory. What is this poltergeist after? In January of 2018, this emergency message was broadcasted to everyone in the entire state of Hawaii.
A missile may impact on land or sea within minutes. This is not a drill.
What's more alarming is how everyone seems to ignore the emergency directions that are instructing them to pull over. Bethany and the vehicle in front of her continue to drive, even when told by the radio to stop, although to be completely fair, they could have been on a one-lane road with nowhere safe to pull over.
If you are driving, pull safely to the side of the road and seek shelter in a building or lay on the floor. We will announce when the threat has ended.
The broadcast puts the entire island into a panic, and I feel like this live stream video summarizes everyone's reaction perfectly. The first stage is a sort of disbelief and the need to confirm it's really happening.
Oh gosh, what happened? Did you guys get that? Did you not get that? There's an emergency ballistic missile threat.
The next stage is acceptance that this is real, which leads to scrambling for a plan, even in the face of total obliteration.
Oh my god! What do we do?
And the final stage is panicking at the realization that all hope is lost, that your life is about to truly end. The urge to run somewhere, anywhere, sets in even though it's clear nothing can be done.
Babe, what do we do?
As it turns out, this broadcast was a major mistake made by staff at a military command post. There was nothing this time, but based on these videos and countless others, I don't think we would really do as well as we would like to think in the face of an actual catastrophe. A Twitter user named Kazuki Sake is visiting a graveyard in Japan when he claims this pebble broke off a statue and went into a frenzy. Try and translate this part into English if you can.
いやだって今石だったんだべせいでね高持ったやつ
So what do you think is going on here? This could be an actual ghost, CGI, or maybe even just a pebble on a string.
And we are hurrying. Luckily, our house has sprinklers. It was built. We've only been in this house for a week and a half. But we're getting everything that's important. And we're getting it out of here.
This scary GoPro video sounds like the final moments of a family fleeing in terror from their haunted home, but that's not what's happening. Midnight is when Tyson and Haley get a phone call that they have to evacuate fast, not from something paranormal, but a situation just as terrifying nonetheless. Flames are tearing up the mountainside and heading towards their home. Now they have to keep their oldest son occupied and unafraid while not panicking themselves, trying their best to navigate around closed roads and other hazards. You can tell the father wants to scream, but he doesn't want to freak their kids out, so this is how he talks.
That's not good at all, huh, buddy? Oh my gosh. Yeah, I want to go up there.
What will happen if the fire comes to our car?
We would turn around and drive away.
He's definitely a good father for not scaring his children, but the reality of the situation is, at least from what I can tell, that they are low on gas and stuck in traffic without much control over where they go next. Police are frantically trying to direct traffic and stay in communication with the fire department to guide cars away from the blazing inferno, and it isn't looking too good for them. Eventually, they break away and find a moment to collect themselves at the gas pump. As they watch the inferno in the distance, adrenaline finally wearing off, it occurs to them just how close to being goners they really were.
I've never had that feeling or adrenaline rush before. That was crazy.
I'm really glad this wasn't the family's final moments caught on GoPro, and hope they have some good memories ahead to help balance out this horrifying event. This hauntingly scary video was taken during a ceremony in the desert of Saudi Arabia. Look closely or you'll miss the scary stuff. First, pay attention to how the flames bend without any wind. Any gust of wind blowing the flames this hard should be kicking up sand and moving the branches of the nearby bush, but it's not. Then, after 16 seconds, a bizarre phantom apparition begins to materialize in the circled area. What's beyond creepy is this scary face that appears at 18 seconds and never fully goes away. A still image taken at 19 seconds reveals a floating face with a big nose and strong chin. Freaky, right? Or maybe it's just a lens flare from the flames. Still, the timing is a little bit too coincidental to not at least briefly consider the paranormal. This figure appears out of nowhere and then disappears just the same way. Shared on TikTok, watch this mysterious vanishing act.
Tại gì không? Nó nói cái bóng này. Nó thấy gì không? Nó đang đạp xe đạp nè. Thấy không? Kìa không? Kìa.
It does appear that the figure is only suddenly visible when the light flashes on them. And after it trapezes across the roadside for a moment, it vanishes into nothing.
Yeah. Yeah.
While it could just be a poor quality camera, the way the figure pixelates and disperses is utterly eerie to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm no tech expert. Can anyone clear this up for me in the comments? Morgan Adams is a popular YouTuber who doesn't ordinarily focus on paranormal content at all. So when she recently suspected that her house was haunted, you know I had to take a look. Let's go over the evidence and see if her suspicions are correct. She claims to hear tapping and scratching on the walls, which could be an animal, but then there's whispers too. When this happens, she uses Snapchat and almost always detects a second face nearby. She has named the spirit Angie, and it seems to have become quite attached. Angie often responds to her own name.
Angie! Oh my god! Angie, you have a lot of new friends that would like to say hi. Oh my...
Though Snapchat could be mistaking the shelf behind her for a winking face, and these two objects on the wall for eyes, Angie typically lurks around the corner of the house reserved for overnight visitors, coincidentally the same area where her dog Ollie absolutely refuses to go. Even with the promise of a treat, Ollie will only allow himself to go so far before he refuses to budge. Some dogs have trouble keeping their balance on hardwood floors and can actually develop a fear of them over time. I thought that could be Ollie's deal because he puts one paw on the wood and stops at 9 minutes and 8 seconds, but at 8 minutes and 52 seconds he has no problem walking on the same type of floor, so that can't be why. I think Morgan Adams could be giving a verbal command for Ollie to sit when she says okay at 9 minutes and 8 seconds. You tell me if Ollie is doing a trick or if he senses something and is too nervous to go forward.
Come on. Okay, come on.
I don't think it's fake because then she tells him to come on and he still won't move, and when Morgan gets to the end of the hall, she hears a noise and shudders. Plus, Ollie isn't the only animal acting weird. Her cat will freeze at the door like someone is on the other side, and Morgan even hears knocking sometimes.
Cut it out right now. Stop!
There's never anything there, and yet the cat stares at the wall as if something has its attention.
Literally? I'm gonna freak out if you don't stop. Oh my orbs, literally.
An orb of light also flies in the direction that her cat is staring. Odd indeed. Oh, and there's also this strange Snapchat photo taken in the middle of the night. It could be something photoshopped, but I see something more to it. To the left of the shadow person, I see a face on the wall, and another peeking out from behind the covers. It almost looks like the exact same from a photo taken at the mountain pass, where Angie the spirit first followed Morgan home. And if you're wondering where Angie is in the photo, check out Morgan's shoulder. The dark hair is not hers. Finally, one night, her dad lets it slip that the property was built near an old burial ground. Tell me if you think he is telling the truth here or not.
Do you think our house is haunted?
Nope.
The way he pauses and looks away makes me think he could have been trying to avoid saying anything that could make his daughter worry any more than she already has been. So is all of this real or fake? I'm 50-50 on this one, so your opinions will help me decide. YouTuber Near Shadows has a stalker. After being led here by Randonautica, this is what they capture on camera.
That's it.
What the heck?
Oh my... Please,
Go!
please,
Go!
please.
What the was that?
Is that a demon, a banshee, or is it human? It doesn't sound human to me. My money's on this being a banshee. There's a specific fear towards someone trying to break and enter your home. The intrusion makes you feel incredibly vulnerable and violated. YouTuber What Up Chris knows what it feels like. He published this footage to YouTube in April of 2016, writing, "This man was seen trespassing and trying to enter my home. The security footage shows a white truck pass by the house in question. Presumably the truck pulls up down the street to park, while its owner gets out and saunters down the street adjacent to the home. He is seen in the video walking casually, appearing as though he might pass by the house, before he takes a sharp left and walks brazenly up to the drive towards it instead. Another camera angle catches him walking up the front steps, before turning right around again without knocking. He takes a right to walk around the house in order to find a different access of entry. Another camera captures the intruder walking around the side of the house, towards the backyard. The man disappears off camera for a moment, before returning and trying to knob off one of the side entry doors. As they are all locked, he gives up and leaves. His white truck is seen a moment later, driving the opposite direction, down the road from whence he came. The homeowner has since come out of the house in his wheelchair, and can be seen taking a picture of the truck with his phone, likely in order to capture the license plate number. Smart move on the homeowner's part, although it's unclear if the attempted intruder was ever caught. We can only hope this man captured enough video evidence to put him behind bars. Located in the UK, Bishton Hall is one of the most haunted places in the country. YouTuber Ghost Shift UK explores these hallowed halls in this scary video, and they quickly get a reading on their paranormal devices.
Whoa. Hello. Whoa. That's completely mental.
When he asks the spirits to trigger the K2, they comply.
Can you just make that go to red? Can you do that again, please? Make it go to red. Wow. That's proper maxing out.
Then, out of nowhere, the spirit shares its name through the spirit box.
Jesus. Gerald. Okay.
Even the ambient noises in the cellar sound haunting. He then hears a voice, which he describes as a shout.
Someone's just shouted something.
And then he hears this strange noise.
That's freaked me out, what? I'm convinced it might have been Ghost Tube Bath.
When he returns to the room to check out the ghost tube device, he captures these EVPs. He heads upstairs to set up his devices in the headmaster's room, where they immediately detect activity.
Creeps really bad. Thank you. Thank you very much. Who's that then?
Clearly the headmaster is here.
Maxing out, that is big time. Thank you. Can you stop, can you? Can you stop for me? Please? Stop. Thank you.
Although we don't see any paranormal activity, we do hear a lot throughout this investigation. Ghost Shift UK calls Bishton Hall the most haunted place he's ever explored. It does appear to me to have significant and multiple energies, but I can't tell whether they're good or evil. YouTuber Ali H lives in a haunted house. After his dogs woke him in the middle of the night, he was confronted, but not by his dogs, by the demon itself. Watch the security camera footage here. Ali says there was a knocking noise which disturbed his dogs. That's why they woke him up for comfort. He got up to check things out, and when he did, something sinister happened. After having his neck squeezed and then thrown to the floor, Ali somehow went back to bed. Although this would definitely not be my reaction to being choked by an unseen force, I do believe Ali's story. Watch again at how he was lifted off the floor by the demon. Maybe Ali is just so used to dealing with the haunted happenings in his home, these become indifferent to them. I think this is getting dangerous for him though. He should take everyone's advice in the comments and move from this haunted place before it's too late. Sylvia Nicholas has a motion sensor camera that turned on momentarily to catch this strange airborne entity as indicated by the green box. Take a look again in slow motion and tell me if this was a spirit orb, a giant speck of dust, a bug, or something else altogether. This rare Russian creature is being called everything from a mole to a troll. The phone quality is too poor to make out much more than a tiny humanoid hand and a small face. Whatever this is, it doesn't behave much like a mole, which I doubt would stay above ground with two humans so close. Anyway, try to translate this conversation if you can, and let me know if they ever say what kind of creature this is.
Quantos saíram? Só Aí pra trás tem mais quantos? Cela 4 e a ala.
Bora, bota a cara pra cima aí.
At the 15-second mark, you can see its hand more clearly, and it does look like it could have a well-developed thumb, which would exclude it from belonging to most species. With that said, I think it could perhaps be a baby possum, which do have opposable thumbs and sometimes like to burrow underground. I could be wrong though, and even after almost 100,000 views, nobody seems to have come up with a concrete answer. This poltergeist activity is insane, perhaps literally, captured at a haunted asylum. TikToker Louis D Vlog shares this video of a poltergeist encounter. It starts with a scare.
I told this yesterday. Yeah, what was that?
And the fear grows with this EVP.
Throw that chair. No. Is there a chair? Bring in a chair there, bro. Hey, the EVP says, throw that chair.
A second EVP makes things far spookier.
Oh my, no. Somebody in the second right now. Yeah.
Are children causing mayhem here? They seem to respond to the team's demands.
Hey, do it. Slam the door right now.
I'm not sure if children's spirits would be this angry, but whether young or old, the aggression is clear. This place just might be haunted by something nefarious. Published by Humboldt Pet Supply in October of 2018, the store's security camera footage reveals a series of creepy incidents that cannot be explained. The first involves a package falling off a shelf on its own. The shop attendant continues to shelve items and then heads over to put the package back. A moment later, after she walks away, the package falls from the shelf again. This time it also moves across the floor a bit on its own. Another clip shows a cat named Diego pacing the shop. An incongruent shadow cat appears in the light from the doorway. There don't appear to be any other cats in the store but the real and the shadow one. In a third clip, another package falls from its place and moves strangely across the floor. It drifts slowly until it catches Diego, the cat's attention. As the cat approaches attentively, the package moves, causing Diego to jump. The cat pauses it for a second before he decides he wants nothing to do with this. The package continues across the floor on its own. Is this perhaps the shadow cat playing around with the real one? Seems pretty catty to me. Imagine getting a notification on your phone only to find this footage. The YouTube team Haunted Real Estate Investigations shares this video captured on a security camera. The homeowners had just moved in 6 months prior. Granted, the angle at which this footage is taken could allow a whole human to hide just out of sight, but the way the cupboards open and close doesn't really look human to me. Is this family dealing with a hungry ghost? I'd like to see more footage before drawing a conclusion, and until then, if I were the residents of this home, I wouldn't raid the pantry at midnight. A YouTuber in India named Fayaz, the Mizhan, travels to the Kalapalli cemetery at midnight, where a humanoid shadow figure is said to haunt anyone foolish enough to come near. This is the exact moment he accidentally caught a ghost on camera, as his viewers would later point out to him. Something hangs back to watch him under the street lamps. Something strange. You can just barely see the shadow moving away if you watch down by its legs. Considering the infamous haunted graveyard is directly beside him, I think it stands to reason that this shadow is paranormal. Have you ever heard something in nature that doesn't sound natural at all? This video was cross-posted by Cursed Curses to the Chills Narrator subreddit, who thought these sounds were weird enough to share. Originally posted to What Is This by Sir M Sport, the Redditor explains that the strange sound seems to be originating from the woods and the sky surrounding his house in rural Georgia. He said although his phone ran out of battery, he heard the sounds long after the recording ends. The user asks the Reddit community for help in identifying the source of these sounds, after asking a few of his neighbors, who said they hadn't heard such noises before. One of these neighbors, who lives on a hill, said the sounds definitely seem to be coming directly from the sky. Listen closely. The noises sound like irregular high-speed traffic for a moment. But then another tone enters in, like a spaceship door opening. The murmur continues, oscillating slightly. There are many theories in the comments, with Wolfish Fluff coming up with one of the most likely theories, suggesting that it sounds like a power plant or generator farm. He notes the revving up sound could be the activation. He writes, "My guess is that there's one of these facilities somewhere in your area, and the sound is coming from the sky because you're far enough away that basically the sound is bouncing off the atmosphere and then traveling to you. This would cause the muffling and the distortion." Other less likely theories include alligators, unknown flying objects, or a big tunnel. Any other suggestions? What do you think these sounds may be? A Redditor named SwiftFool41 starts freaking everyone out when he started posting his porch cam videos on the advice subreddit. He had a bad feeling about a random late night visitor and wanted to know what others thought he should do. The stranger gets out and knocks on the door after waiting for over 2 minutes in their car. He rings the doorbell and says something about a minute later, but he's looking down so it's hard to hear. The uploader of this video really wants to know what he says. Then he says something about being on the porch to someone on the phone, maybe just a friend, or perhaps an accomplice.
I'm on the porch right now.
Reddit dismisses this as strange but not alarming. Maybe it was just somebody with a wrong address or something. But then 5 days later, another porch cam video has them freaking out. 3 more cars pull up late at night and no one gets out for a really long time, over 17 minutes to be precise. What they do, it's a different stranger than before, and what he does next is odd. He knocks on the door and immediately counts a fat wad of cash. What is he expecting to buy out here, and why roll 3 deep to get it? The uploader doesn't answer the door, and Reddit has been freaking out ever since. This was over 2 years ago and the mystery has yet to be solved, or even updated for that matter, so who knows what the outcome was. A YouTuber named Dylan Richardson is teaching his dog how to speak when his creepy next door neighbor, who is apparently annoyed by the barking dog, decides to stare at everyone through his window instead of knocking on the front door. The neighbor could have mental problems because he is looking into this home with no shirt on despite the cold weather. They chase him away, but he literally vanishes around the side of the house without a trace. No camera editing or anything. That's when Dylan's friend gets this idea. I guess this neighbor wanted to get frostbite more than he wanted to get caught. I don't know how he could possibly manage to perfectly burrow under the snow in 3 seconds without leaving any footprints behind. So I'm gonna say this creepy neighbor video, while strange and entertaining, is made up. Another dog with something to prove, posted to YouTube by It's Just Mars in March of 2012. The uploader writes that her dog does this most nights. The clip shows the dog on high alert for 5 minutes, growling, barking, and whining. At the end of the video, the uploader says that the closet door just opened on its own. The dog appears very upset by this and is pacing around the bed. I really think that the dog was right about everything. There's something unseen in this house. Jonathan FOD and his friends go exploring an abandoned meat processing facility building that everyone in town says is haunted, but the air quotes around ghost seems to mean he doesn't quite believe it.
So supposedly, there's a ghost that roams around here.
Soon he will.
Oh shit.
That.
Hey! I heard that.
Who's there?
As Jonathan FOD and his 2 friends are ghost hunting in some kind of tool shed, they get what they think could be some paranormal evidence caught on tape.
What the? Bro, y'all heard that, bro? What the that? Bro. Is anybody there? Oh.
All 3 of them are on camera when these noises happen. You can see they are just standing there with their hands down, so it can't be them. Maybe Jonathan had a 4th person making all of that noise, but I don't see how they could have faked that ghost EVP at 8 minutes and 50 seconds. It really does sound like the muffled voice of a small child.
What is that? Bro, y'all heard that, bro? That.
After setting up a camera in her home, YouTuber Kathy Nito turns out the light, and what comes after just might be a ghost. Watch for the white thing once Kathy is distracted.
Oh, turn them down.
Do you see that? Kathy believes this is a ghost. Well, I don't think it's a bug, as it appears to be too large and chaotic to be an insect. I'm not sure if my first thought would jump to the paranormal. It looks more like a spider web or some other flying debris to me. Still, whatever it is, it's creepy. Do you have any ideas as to what this could be? Well, this ghost hunter explored a cathedral. He was met with something unexpected. The devil. Ghost hunter Red Fox set up a Ouija board inside this haunted cathedral and soon felt like he was being watched.
뭔가가 여기 있을까요?
And not only watched, but something is clearly present. Watch the playback. Nothing is in the hallway from where the sound was coming from. And then that nothing is coming straight at him. The playback again shows nothing there. Until the big reveal. The playback reveals all areas of the cathedral on camera while this occurred. Later, the ghost hunter discovers his Ouija board has been misplaced. Looks like the devil has left the chat.
지금 거의 해가 뜨고 있습니다.
A woman by the name of Cecilia Carrasso in Chile strode past the reception desk at a law office in 2015 when she was attacked by something invisible. As you watch the CCTV video, Cecilia is strolling with a young woman towards the reception desk when she reportedly felt something push her with such force that it caused her to fall backwards hard. You can see Cecilia chatting with the woman and gesturing at something when suddenly, out of nowhere, she falls flat on her back. She doesn't just slip, she absolutely appears as though she was pushed. I wasn't aware of anyone in front of me as I passed the reception desk talking to a girl, and as I looked up towards the receptionist, I suddenly felt 2 pairs of hands shove me over, Cecilia said. She later added, I hit the floor, and when I looked up, I couldn't see anybody, and I thought they must have run off. When Cecilia asked the receptionist who had pushed her, she was told that nobody had. Cecilia didn't believe the receptionist until she was shown footage of the incident. After seeing it, she was sure that she had been the victim of a ghost attack since there was absolutely nobody around her. Cecilia's doctors reported that her injuries were consistent with a fall, but that she'd also received a large blow to the head, which may have caused confusion about what she felt and about her injuries, but that doesn't explain what happened in this creepy CCTV footage. Warning to young explorers, don't enter abandoned malls at night. Jaskin Ho published this footage in September of 2018, illustrating exactly why. Explaining that the mall in question is Charlestown Outlet Mall in the US, he writes, "This is an older video I thought I'd drop for you guys. The mall closed for good over 30 years ago, and I did record a video here before, but there was talk about the basement level, so we went in. While the first 9 minutes reveal your typical exploring of the abandoned mall, 9 minutes in, one of the crew peers into a dark room beyond, and that's when he hightails it out of there, followed closely by the rest." One of the bunch says they were running for nearly 5 minutes. According to the one who first ran, he saw someone in the room beyond. Although the video didn't capture the figure, we can only imagine what this group came across. And with that in mind, I think they made the right choice getting out of there ASAP. When a poltergeist displays his candor over a period of several days, you gotta see it for what it is, a permanent unwanted house guest. Published to YouTube in October of 2019, this video shows a series of poltergeist activities occurring in this couple's kitchen. On day 4, the salt and pepper shakers sitting on the kitchen countertops start to move slightly, then the salt falls over altogether. On day 8, the couple is in the kitchen. The woman is cooking something and sets the hand blender on the counter. It's turned off. She goes to the fridge to retrieve an egg, and this happens. She drops the egg in fright while the man calmly turns off the blender. On day 24, the man enters his kitchen to get a glass of water. His back turned to the stove. One of the burners suddenly turns on of its own accord. A pan on the stove slowly slides over to the lit burner, again all on its own. The man just stands there drinking his water, watching this happen. He takes 2 eggs from the fridge and sets them on the counter, inviting the poltergeist to cook. Maybe this is the best way to go about living with a poltergeist. Just accept that you have a third, somewhat mischievous roommate. Next time you're wandering through a forest, look out for the trees. They might just be hiding duppies. Posted to YouTube by Javahan Ferguson in January of 2020. This video purports to show proof of a duppy caught in a tree. What's a duppy? Meaning ghost or spirit. The concept originated in Central Africa. Caribbean folklore in particular grasped onto the supernatural nature of the duppy. Many residents in fact claim to have seen them. The malevolent spirits appear most often at night and are meant to haunt the living. In the video, the so-called duppy woman appears to somehow be perched atop a tree. She is waving to someone or something beyond. If not something supernatural, how is this woman managing to stand or float atop a tree like this? And if she is a duppy, what imaginable malice does she intend to induce? It's midnight when this ladder starts walking by itself in an apartment building garage. It looks like it has to be the work of a ghost, but it's actually on a very gradual ramp moving down. This middle section of the ladder, called a spreader, looks like it's too worn out to lock in place anymore, and so the ladder almost tips over and then catches itself, taking another step forward in the process. But still, somebody has to bump the ladder first to get it moving. So if this just spontaneously happened out of nowhere, then that's a cause for concern. A boy records the scenic view outside of his window, as passengers often do. When he looks up to record an oncoming plane, he accidentally picks up a fast-moving disc-like object traveling in the opposite direction. Looking at it frame by frame, the small flat rectangle is abnormal and does not change shape or gain detail as it moves across the screen. It's definitely not wildlife, and it's too small to be a drone, not to mention up way too high. So what could it be, aside from the possible UFO? Others have pointed out that the trail left behind by the other plane looks odd as well. I think it looks like normal vapor trails created by engine exhaust, but I could be wrong. Does it look suspicious to you? And do you think these two events, the UFO and the other plane, could somehow be related? A YouTuber named Jordan Bew is about to get some food with his brother Jeremy and some friends when he sees a tiny lizard hanging out by the pool. He doesn't want to hurt the little guy, so he takes it outside and goes to set it free, but it winds up taking a wrong turn.
Go get him. Get him, bud. Oh, he's in your hair.
No!
Oh, he's on your head.
No!
He's nasty.
Jordan's friend goes for the close-up, but accidentally scares it towards the safety of his hair. Only its tail is sticking out and then it's fully gone. They give it some time and let it resurface. It may have changed to the same color as his hair, and you can barely see it at this point. Finally, they scoop it out and set it free, but the lizard almost doubles back for another round and jumps on one of their shoes. Fortunately, it is not a repeat performance, and they are able to shoo it away. If you ever get lost in your own little world while driving, you may be missing out. Fear is right outside your window. YouTuber Nabs Maya captured this unusual figure on camera, and they are disturbed by it. Watch closely.
We just know guys are coming down the street. They're too far. Right, so this is the beginning of the show. It's 10 o'clock on the dot this morning, and we have got one new entry on the code top 40. You've obviously then got one fallout. We'll get to that a little bit later. But that new entry.
What they're looking at is that bright pale figure in the middle of the field. It appears to be standing idle. Though the camera is shaky, the figure doesn't move. You can even see a bird fly past it, undisturbed. What is this thing? It's difficult to tell from such a distance. I think it could be anything. A person, a scarecrow, even a ghost. But these guys are gonna have to get closer to test out my theories. A YouTuber named Shondurez decides to go ghost investigating with his friends at their studio office, which is apparently haunted. They meet up at 2 a.m. and are talking about what they should do next when something in the next room over wrecks their plans.
What actually was that?
Approximately 10 seconds later, this sound fills the building. Listen to it and tell me if you think it's real or edited.
Wait, shh. Legit.
By now, they are pretty much freaking out and ready to take off, but the spirit isn't quite through with them yet. You'll see absolutely nobody was nearby when this happens, which makes me think it could be real. All of the lights shut off before they get a chance to leave. One of them turns the camera light on just in time to see their friend blankly staring at them from the ground. I guess he could just be acting, and one of his friends pulled him by his feet, but that still doesn't explain this actual ghost sighting at the very end.
Go! Dude. See through 214.
I think this could be real because the raw adrenaline sends his friend barreling straight through a door. It's 1:40 in the morning and two friends are cruising down a dark road, completely unable to see what's on the other side. They both think that they spot movement in the trees, and having nothing better to do, they pull over and shine their headlights into the area. Nothing happens for some time, and then a figure slowly emerges from the dry brush. One of them says that they think this is a witch, and I agree that could be a possibility. They are dressed in all black and hunched over, holding what appears to be a walking stick. If this is not fake and that's not a third friend, then I can't imagine what anybody would be doing walking in complete darkness all alone, especially so late at night. This resident office ghost is unusually helpful. Posted to the Paranormal Evidence subreddit by Nice Socks Dude, the ghost here opens filing cabinet drawers so that you don't have to. In the video, the bottom drawer of the cabinet slowly opens. When the cameraman pushes it closed, the upper drawer then slowly slides forward. Push closed again. Both drawers slide open on their own. The cameraman pushes them closed again, but they both again open, one after the other. Some of the comments think the load is too heavy. They might be spring-loaded or off balance, or the entire building's foundation has sunk, but at least one Redditor agrees that it's a ghost. Do you think this office is haunted? If that's the case, at least this ghost is helpful. Austin is nervous with anticipation over exploring the haunted Windsor Hotel in Georgia, a 24-hour paranormal investigation challenge that will leave all of them freaked out soon enough. A young person once fell down an elevator shaft in the early 1900s, and the place has been haunted ever since. Her ghost has been seen in hotel mirrors. Objects often move on their own. Austin isn't sure if he believes the paranormal rumors until weird things are caught on camera they've left running overnight. Keys and a wallet fall off the dresser while everyone is asleep. Both objects are planted securely on an even surface and have no reason to drop unless it was a ghost or a string. I don't see either, so I'm not sure what to think about this video at this point, but things are creepy so far. One of them wakes up and goes over to investigate the bizarre occurrence. What's caught on camera next is downright strange. As they are picking up the wallet and keys, a lamp clicks off. The noise sounds exactly like the button on their lamp.
You heard, listen. You can literally hear the flip. Something had to literally physically turn that off, bro.
So there's no doubt that a lamp turns on, but the question or not is if it's the one that's in front of them. If there were 4 beds in this room, then I feel like there would be a second lamp behind them off camera. Maybe they were turning that one off to make the clicking noise. Still, an overwhelming number of people agree this is paranormal. 682 to 15 as of the time of this video, and given the hotel's haunted history, I trust in what they saw and wouldn't be surprised surprised if it was real. Passengers are boarding this airplane in Thailand, but how is this possible when the entrance is disconnected from the airport? Are these people or spirits? You decide. As a counterpoint, someone pointed out that there could have been a second entrance here on the other side. The people could be traveling in an L-shaped tunnel, but since we can't confirm it from this angle, both explanations are plausible. Sometimes you can see something that looks vaguely familiar until it completely surprises you. Posted by a major malfunction, this strange figure was caught by a security camera in Turkey. Watch closely to catch what it does. The small figure appears to be trailing across the road, walking upright. It twirls, at moments disappears, then is captured again, meandering around whimsically. Suddenly it moves forward, then takes off into the air, gliding smoothly upward, all the while twirling in place. It rises, floating, gliding, and soon is out of sight. The timestamp says this occurred in February of 2016 at around 2 in the morning. What is this thing? Of course, theories abound in the comments section, with the most common suggestion being a helium balloon. If that was the case though, wouldn't its movements be more sporadic? And that doesn't explain its sudden reincarnation. While investigating this demon house, YouTube team KBC Cazadores de Fantasmas encounters a real-life demon. In the wilderness, they start to get a wild EMF reading.
Hoop dat dus al af.
Then they break out a thermal camera and capture this.
Grace. Grace, cuidado, Grace. Oh? Dan moet ik niet als gesproken mooi zijn hier om te.
And they later capture the devil in their spirit box session.
O diabo. Falou certo? Mano. Fica esperto, filho.
They also take a photo in which something spooky is captured. These are just the grounds of the demon house. I feel that there's definitely something haunting this property, but we'll have to tune into the final episode of the series to find out. A YouTuber named Phoebe Mayhew made a scary face swab video from 2016 that's still an unsolved mystery to this day, and I'm hoping this is the year we can find an answer. So Phoebe makes a joke about having no friends to face swap with, when this invisible presence takes her up on her generous offer to change faces.
Hello, anyone want?
The eerie apparition is apparently above her, and she switches places with something peering in from the highest point of the door. So the only thing in the corner that possibly looks like a face would be the overhead lighting. But when Phoebe tries to recreate the situation, nothing happens.
It's definitely not the light it was doing it to. So the light's over there and it's not doing it now.
Like I said, I don't see anything else in that doorway that could have set off the face swap. Do you? It makes me wonder if something tall and creepy was watching her and then vanished. Does YouTuber Mo Sarchi have a demon fire starter on his hands? Watch as he tries to communicate with the demon in his haunted abandoned house.
What are you, a demon?
Did you see that? Keep an eye on the top of the screen near the doorway. It looks like something is manifesting from the ground.
What are you, a demon? What are you, a demon?
Then this happens.
Did I just see that thing move?
Yes, you did, Mo. Mo heads upstairs to check on things a while later, but hears the REM pod go off, and then he finds this.
Oh my. Oh my. What the is happening?
What?
Oh my.
As Mo examines the remnants, he hears another unexplained sound.
Oh my, it's broken. Look at that, guys. The bottle broke.
What was that? I'm pretty sure that was the demon, and by the sounds of it, he's sick of Mo's shenanigans. These friends are staying at a hotel when they see flashing lights coming from the bathroom mirror and hear rumbling noises on the other side. It sounds like a classic haunted hotel setting at first, but when they take the bathroom mirror and flip it around, they see two holes that look to me like someone was spying on them.
Scratches here and here that you can see directly through the mirror. Directly through.
But this situation gets way more intense than just a peephole. Much to their surprise and horror, there was also a rectangular hole cut into the wall leading directly into the next room over. Whoever cut this hole could literally climb through the wall anytime they wanted to, day or night. They could silently watch the group in the mirror to know when they were leaving, then climb through to mess with their stuff, or worse still, they would know when you were about to go to bed and could enter while they were all asleep to do who knows what. I don't know how any of this ended, but I do know their lives could have been at risk if they didn't discover this in time. I think this situation is real, because I don't think they would destroy a hotel wall just to make a video. Hopefully they called the police and caught whoever invaded their privacy. The David Livingstone Centre is a reportedly haunted museum in Glasgow, Scotland. As these paranormal investigators are about to discover for themselves, they aren't even finished setting up their equipment when the poltergeist activity begins. First, something falls in the darkness, and then a piece of equipment flips over in front of them. They go to where the other object fell over and find one of the velvet ropes has come unhooked by itself. Since we didn't see it happen on video though, I guess we just have to take their word. Later, they head over to the chapel area where they think they see something move, but it's too dark to tell.
As if it's a person? Yeah. Shoot behind you.
When they take a picture of the corner of the chapel, however, this image of a shadow person is what they find. A small bluish figure briefly hovers outside of a home before disappearing out of sight. It's hard to say what this is, or even how close the object even was. On one hand, it looks like it could just be a strand of hair, but the way it hangs around for so long is quite strange. This object was also somehow able to activate the doorbell cam, so it must have had some mass to do it. The person who uploaded this video claims that it's a ghost, but let me know what you think this mysterious object is. Even with video evidence, I still can't fully tell. Captured at Hillview Manor in Newcastle, these paranormal explorers face their fears. Published by SCWC in October of 2019, the uploader calls this the scariest moment of their entire life. Although the video has no sound, the YouTuber says footsteps charged at them from down the hallway. The video shows their terrified reaction as they all look toward it. One of them even dives out of the way as the invisible spirit charges toward them. Noting that the footsteps ran between all of them, the uploader writes, "The walls and floor shook with every footstep this spirit took while running." While you don't see anything run past, this group's synced reaction seems more than genuine. What was in the Hill House with them? According to the YouTube team, Causa Sobrenatural, they've never been more afraid in their lives than on this night. As they enter this abandoned home, they hear steps coming up the stairs.
Está só gravando. Escutou? Subir a escada. Isso, cara. Vou teleportar subir a escada.
The team investigates further, and that's when they hear this.
Ah, tomando teu c... Vou embora de cá. Você escutou isso? Eu não escutei. Meu Deus do céu. Ela cantarolou lá em cima.
What was that? It sounds like either a human voice or an instrument to me, but whose? I understand why this would strike fear in the team. Something is present, and it's uncertain whether or not it's even human. If I were there, I'd be getting out of this home ASAP. The Southern Arizona Ghost and Paranormal Society teams up with fellow ghost hunters, the Mission Creeps, to investigate the ever-so-haunted Oliver House in Bisbee, Arizona. 26 people are said to have lost their lives here over the years, the most famous being a man named Nat Anderson, whose wife disposed of him with 2 rounds after learning of an affair. Now gathered in the historic bedroom of the Oliver House, they call upon Nat Anderson and possibly get a response.
Somebody told us that Nat Anderson was here. Is Nat still here?
This is one of the clearest paranormal voices I've ever heard. It sounds distant, yet in the same room as them. I'm wondering if this was edited in, and I'm especially looking for the opinion of any sound technicians. Here it is one more time. Maybe it's just me, but I'm detecting a hint of sarcasm in the voice, so maybe it was Nat Anderson being funny by saying he wasn't there, or maybe it was a different ghost who is tired of this question altogether. This strange sighting in the sky was caught on camera flying over the Mexican town of Tepoztlan, and it's really been freaking people out. The strange drone-like object changes colors multiple times, and I don't think it's colored lights. It looks like the body itself is somehow shifting. At 25 seconds, it briefly becomes red before switching back to a more normal-looking color. Those strange lights look too weird to be LED tail lights to me, and if you look closely, shortly before it descends soundlessly behind the trees, it actually turns bright green. While investigating this haunted hotel of horrors, something breezes past this YouTuber from the channel, Morris's Paranormal Adventures UK, and he feels it.
Show yourself to me, please. I'm up here on my own. I can see you on this camera. If you come and stand in front of it, I'll be able to see you. Whoa. Oh. Hell. It went dark then. That's someone behind me then. Is that you? Oh,
the feeling doesn't go away either.
My whole body just feels really tingly. That's freaky. Yeah, that is. Look at that.
It did seem like something swept past him to me, but it could just be that this hotel is awfully atmospheric. I wouldn't be surprised if a whole gaggle of ghosts are holed up here. Zach from the Adventures of Zach and B is sure that a wild animal is in his attic. It's dark up there, so he takes the camera with him for light. The noise coming from his attic is unlike anything I've ever heard before. It sounds like a baleful combination of scratching, growling, and howling. Zach doesn't bother going any deeper, and I really can't blame him. Unfortunately for him, it sounds like something follows him on the way out.
Well, I don't see anything, so let's go ahead. Let's go ahead. Let's go ahead.
An unseen voice says don't, and I think it also says get out of here too. Obviously, this is a real human voice and not an animal after all, and whoever was making that noise remains a mystery. A YouTuber named Ashton Kelly is skateboarding with his friend Casey when they remember they're near an old haunted tunnel that might make for some good video. The first part is really small, so they scoot across on their boards until it widens to reveal the true, much darker entrance. Ashton is commenting on nearby spiders when they hear a low rumbling noise that I think is just the wind, but could be a growl.
It's a big ass spider. What the was it?
Eventually, they go so far down that they no longer get a cell phone signal, meaning they're truly on their own from this point on, and that's when they see a single eye reflecting light. To this day, they're not sure what was watching them. The thing is low to the ground, and I don't know if this is its whole body or just the head peeking around the corner. It doesn't move, which makes me wonder if they put it there, but it could have just been as surprised as they were. Ashton and Casey get out of there as fast as possible, but take a look at it again. What do you think they were running from? A Russian police officer is roaming the snowy countryside when he comes in close contact with a creature that has since never been identified. The officer is traveling at a low rate of speed when suddenly something huge dashes across his headlights. The strange figure is only visible for a moment, then it's gone. Many YouTubers suspect this to be a Russian Yeti. Others are sure that it's a man in a suit or even someone who is completely naked, though this theory is hard to believe because a person in Russia would probably freeze to death if they stood outside naked for very long. Look closely and you'll see that whatever it is, it's moving quite fast. It only takes the thing about 5 or 6 steps to fully get away, and I should mention that the snowbanks on both sides of the tracks appear to be very deep. An average sized person would be struggling way more to get over them. Zoom in and you'll see what looks to be white fur hanging off of its body. Also, it looks to be hunched over and its arms almost touch the ground. If this is a costume, it's very convincing. A neighbor's door camera captured what Redditor Ancient Conference 39 believes is a real ghost sighting. See for yourself. A semi-transparent figure drifts across the street. Prior to this capture, another neighbor said that a couple of weeks prior, they saw the ghost of a girl standing in front of a van. Redditors have theories as to who or what it could be. All jokes aside, many think this is just a case of a bad security camera with slow shutter speed or the usual suggestion, a bug, but coupled with the other strange events and sightings in the area, I'd be keen to believe too. Christian Garcia and a couple of his friends are riding around on a motorcycle late at night through the streets of Mexico and are enjoying their night when suddenly they come across something absolutely terrifying and startling on the road. Right here. This seems to just be a really sort of like isolated road in the middle of nowhere. It's clearly nighttime, and this individual is just sitting out here, staring off into the distance. I wish they would have asked if they needed help. Instead, just sort of take off. But I guess they do decide they should turn around, which is the right thing to do, so respect to these guys.
Hola, señora. ¿Qué dice? ¿Qué? ¿Quién es? ¿Qué le pasa?
¿Cómo se llama?
¿Cómo se llama? Está en medio de la nada, ¿no? ¿Le pasa algo?
If anybody who speaks Spanish could please translate what was said in this conversation, but I assume they were asking if they were all right, to which they get no response from the stranger, and I think eventually just decide, yes, to just take off.
¿Le pasa algo?
Even when Christian and his friends drive back to where the mysterious stranger is sitting down on the side of the road, it doesn't really seem as though they are trying to talk to her too much, and I guess it makes sense because she is a complete stranger, and you never know exactly what a stranger is capable of. I just hope this person is okay and isn't suffering from any problems, but if they are, I hope they will be okay in due time. This infrared video from 2008, taken by a ghost hunting squad in South Dakota called the SPCTR, details paranormal evidence at an abandoned house haunted by the spirit of a child. A mysterious figure peers around the corner at the end of the dark hallway. A ghost if you ask the SPCTR team, but I'm not so sure. The figure doesn't seem very tall and has shoulder-length hair if you look closely at 18 seconds, so maybe this was a little ghost girl in the hallway after all. If this is fake, then one of the paranormal investigators is crouched down to make themselves look like a kid. Tell me if you think this paranormal evidence is legit, or if this was a made-up sighting from the early days of YouTube. If you're playing hide and seek in the woods, expect to be sought by something sinister. Published by RexyBoy34 in September of 2009, this group was messing around in the woods when they realized they were not alone. The cameraman taking the video scans the ground in the surrounding woods, which look particularly eerie in the afternoon. As the camera pans toward his three friends, someone else is creeping behind them.
What the was that? Behind you. I'm being serious, there was something there. There was. I'm not, there was something there.
A figure in black appears for a moment over one of their shoulders. The cameraman calls attention to the figure, and they all turn around to look, but by the time they do, the figure has disappeared behind a tree in the distance. The group thinks he's kidding around, but I see the figure too. As they all watch the tree for a moment, the figure reappears and takes a stride toward them. We are left filled with screams and confusion. What is this figure after, and why is he stalking them? Thank you so much for getting me to 50,000 subscribers here on my Clips channel. If you want to support, please press that subscribe button. Let's get to 60,000 subscribers next. Thank you.